Man Winter visits Arkansas early, leaving behind a path of sleet, ice, and snow. From Sebastian County to Benton County, from Washington County to Springdale. The winter storm bringing hazardous road conditions to all of Arkansas. Good evening, I'm Suzanne Bruner. Thanks for staying up with us late tonight. The winter storm froze many streets and highways here in central Arkansas Friday night. And there's more to come. Freezing rain falling, making streets worse than they were this morning. Let's check in with Fox 16 meteorologist Greg D. Can we expect something similar to what we saw Friday tonight, Greg?
Not quite as much, Suzanne. Actually, I think a lot of the heavier precipitation has already occurred across the state. But let me show you, there are advisories back in Arkansas. Winter weather advisories now in the purple from the northeast, central, and south central parts of the state. Freezing rain advisories for Ashley and Chico County. Now, officially, these go through 8 o'clock this morning, or I should say Sunday morning. And they're mainly for freezing rain and sleet from Little Rock down to the south. In some cases, enough to make the roadways slick again. This shot from Shonda in Pine Bluff showing the sleet coming back to Jefferson County. And some places in southeast Arkansas, they actually saw and are seeing more wintry weather tonight than they did back on Friday when it was mostly rain. There's Fox 16 pinpoint radar. I'll take you up to the northern parts of the state where you see some of the sleet maybe also mixing with some snow up there towards Batesville and Independence County, though even when places where the radar is indicating snow, reports so far have been mainly sleet and freezing rain. The heaviest precipitation now to the east of Little Rock. We're still tracking it down toward Arkansas County, out towards DeWitt, 165 to Highway 65, all the way down into southeast Arkansas. Monticello out there at UAM. Some scattered sleet showers tonight. That will make 65 pretty slick. And with temperatures out there in the 20s, the stuff that's falling now and anything that's melted during the day will refreeze. So, Suzanne, no doubt the streets tomorrow morning will be icier than they were earlier this afternoon as this second system moves out.
Yes, we definitely want to be careful out on those streets. Thanks so much, Greg. Well, many streets in central Arkansas are icy and treacherous, just like Greg said, but some of us have to use those streets to get to work and other locations. So, Fox 16's Melissa Schroeder is helping out with a live look at local road conditions tonight. Melissa, what can you tell us right now?
Well, right now, Suzanne, I want to let you know we decided to go out to a residential area, wanted to check out the road conditions here. We're on the 4400 block of Kavanaugh, and you're getting a live look at exactly what we're seeing here through our GoPro camera. And traffic, as you can see, it's almost non-existent. We did see a couple of cars here and there, but the past few hours that we've been checking out these residential areas, just not a lot of traffic. But I want to let our viewers know that we have seen some pedestrians out and about walking. So if you are driving, make sure that you are aware of that. Now, as far as the road conditions here on Kavanaugh, look at this curve we're going on here. I was just going to point out that that's probably the most treacherous and the hardest to maneuver because there are some slick spots out here on these curves, so be careful. And also, this road here on Kavanaugh, it's completely covered in a layer of ice. And I think you heard Greg mentioning earlier that there was some sleet falling down, and we noticed, we were out in it, and we noticed the conditions started to get worse with that sleet. So make sure you're aware of that if you're driving out and about tonight or into the morning hours. Also, just want to let you know that we are in an all-wheel drive car, and we're still sliding around a bit, but overall the road conditions in Little Rock seem to be better than what they were when we were out and about here Friday evening. But again, that sleet coming down earlier this evening is more than likely going to affect the road conditions overnight, in the overnight hours, and of course into the morning hours. So if you do need to drive around later this evening or tomorrow morning, just make sure you use extra caution. And even though the streets look clear, you know, just be aware of that black ice as well. We're reporting live tonight from Little Rock. Melissa Schroeder for Fox 16 News.
Thanks so much, Melissa. And you can definitely see a great visual out there of what they're seeing, so be sure to drive safe. And crews cleared up most highways and major interstates in central Arkansas, including Interstate 30 earlier today. But the task ahead is getting those other roads clear and making it all safe for drivers. Fox 16's Aaron Nolan is live in Little Rock. And Aaron, has the sleet on the side streets melted any since earlier?
Well, Suzanne, right now we're taking a look at these major roads here on Markham Street in downtown Little Rock. Right now the roads are wet, they're clear, they're a little slick, but we're talking about those other roads, those roads in residential areas, those roads around your house, and it's more like this ice you see behind me here proving to be even more dangerous than these main roads. slick spots on streets.
Many of those residential neighborhoods are still pretty much a solid sheet of ice, and people.
The first winter weather storm of the season. All roads are not equal.
This neighborhood, I like to say we're the redheaded stepchild of neighborhoods.
Major streets in Little Rock got the first clearing priority. But now many are asking when the crews will show up on their block.
It is what it is, but yeah, it is frustrating, and I understand this is a difficult situation, but like I said, they need to spend the money on salt and quit playing around with that sand.
I'm hoping that it's cleared enough by Monday that I can at least get my car out of the driveway.
And for some that ventured beyond their front porch, well, it required some ingenuity.
I just drove out my driveway backwards, and I'm just going to go around the hill, go out that way. That's how we do.
Now it's simply a winter weather waiting game. But the city is promising progress for these lesser traveled roads.
City crews are still out trying to remove the ice from now the neighborhood and residential areas now.
The Little Rock Police Department also saying be very careful as you go from those main roads to the residential roads because you may be a little too brave when it comes to speed. So definitely slow down when you get close to home. Live in Little Rock, Aaron Nolan, Fox 16 News.
And Aaron, I just want to mention we saw quite a couple of drivers out there after yesterday's storm just trying to get around. But what did others do if they needed to get to the store or needed to get something?
Well, yeah, Suzanne, I was out earlier this afternoon, and something very interesting I noticed was a lot of people walking to the grocery store instead of trying to man the hills that we have here in Central Arkansas. So there are definitely different ways to get to where you're going. Sometimes that does not include starting the car.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. Well, Little Rock Mayor Mark Stodola letting folks know in those neighborhoods help is on the way. He reiterates now that the major streets are somewhat clear and routes to hospitals also passable. Crews will start to hit those lesser traveled streets.
This is the first hit. We'll probably have a couple more of these throughout the course of the winter. But I can promise the citizens that we're doing everything we can to keep them safe and to get these roads clear so they can travel to and from safely.
Now, Mayor Stodola says crews are working around the clock to make sure they clear those roads. Entergy officials expect most of the lights to be back on by the end of the day for more than 900 Entergy customers still without power. A large portion of those outages are in Russellville, Forest City, Blytheville, and Marion. Power crews prepared for much more damage, but say the storm wasn't nearly as powerful as they expected.
Crews performed very well. As I think you're aware, we brought in a number of external resources. Actually had amassed an army, so to speak, of around 8,000.
Now, officials haven't figured out the cost of this ice storm, but expect it to be a pretty large bill. Money from a storm reserve fund will help offset the cost. Cox technicians are out braving the storm because when winter elements move in, there's an even higher demand for television, internet, and phone services. Cox Communications says it takes a lot of planning to make sure they are maintaining the safety of their employees and also the efficiency of their service, no matter what the weather elements may be.
It could be below zero and the wind tearing around and, you know, snow on the ground, and it doesn't mean that they can just go in and get warm. Unfortunately, they have to be out in it.
Now, the company says they always try to make sure their techs are paired up in the field during bad weather just in case something does go wrong. Now, with the temperatures continuing to drop as we head into the nighttime hours, creating a race against the clock for those who have nowhere to go. Fox 16's Jocelyn Tovar met with homeless advocates this afternoon to see what they're doing to make sure no one is left out in these frigid temperatures. Jocelyn?
Hey, Suzanne. Well, you know, there are shelters like the Salvation Army that are offering some shelter to these people, but often those beds fill up quickly and then they're left to wonder where the next safe location is, and that's where Aaron Redden comes in, an advocate for the homeless who spent the last few nights driving around these streets looking for people he can give a ride to one of the few warming shelters that are open. And when you imagine a homeless person, you might be thinking of a man maybe a little older, possibly a veteran of some sort, but Aaron says that there are more stereotypes for who is out in these storms. For example, he says just last night he helped a mother get herself and her 4 children to a safe location, and he says it's about time the city starts helping more.
it's a battle every year to get the doors open somewhere, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way, especially when homeless advocates are being told, you know, we're gonna work on this. We're gonna make sure that we've got somewhere for folks to go.
Most of them, they're overflowed right now. They're putting out mats for people on the floor and stuff like that.
Now, that last person speaking there, John Edward, a man who happens to be homeless, we spoke to him about how he's surviving these frigid temperatures. He tells us that he's been staying in a tent for shelter, and unfortunately that just wasn't going to hold up tonight. So he did tell us that he will be staying in a shelter. Some very good advice there. We're live in downtown Little Rock. Jocelyn Tovar, Fox 16 News.
And Jocelyn, it's so nice to see you ready to get out there to help folks in the community. With the temperatures, you know, they're very dangerous. Have police told you about any fatalities from this winter weather?
Well, you know, there are some rumors floating around that people have lost their lives to these temperatures. Fortunately, they are just rumors. We're being told that there are no cases of anyone losing their lives in this cold weather. Back to you.
All right, Jocelyn Tovar, thanks so much. And the city of Little Rock responding to homeless shelter overcrowding, saying, quote, as of today, there are 140 beds available at the Union Rescue Mission and the Compassion Center. These shelters are not turning people away due to space issues. End quote. Meanwhile, the Arkansas State Capitol lit up for the holidays tonight, but the official ceremony, like many other events, canceled due to the winter storm that's blanketed Arkansas. And hundreds of churches also canceling services due to the weather and road conditions. We've actually compiled a list for you to check out on our website. That's fox16.com. Coming up, a look at the weather through the eyes of social media, how some are spending their time while they're snowed in.